Welcome to You're a Nice Guy But, the true story of a garage band, Episode 5, Video on Audio Companion. In this segment, we'll cover the period of time from May 1984 to December 1985. We'll get insights on how the band progressed and developed both musically and visually. In the spring of 1984, Mike Sheehy had decided to leave the band and pursue other musical interests. That left us searching for a bass player again. Our answer came in the unlikely form of Cindy Morin. Cindy is not what you'd call a new wave punk rock bass player, but more of a classic rock and metal type of musician. Nevertheless, she signed on to gig with us, and off we went.
I mean, honestly, as a bass player, she was an upgrade from Mike in some ways.
She could actually sing too.
Yeah, she could
kind of
sing
make
and
fun
play.
of her sometimes, but she did a lot of nice harmonies on some songs.
Yeah, like, you know what I like? I mean, I know it was a cover, but like, and I don't know where we were playing, but we did Modern Love by Bowie, and I don't think I ever felt like we played it well, but then I heard like a recording you'd sent me, or maybe it was on a CD or something of us doing it, and I was like, it's surprising, I did it pretty well, you know?
Well, we did it our own way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was something that, I guess, like you say, our interpretation of, right?
Yeah.
So you make it work the way you can, and you know, it was unfortunate that we got in the cycle of covers so much.
I don't think we wrote anything new during that period that Cindy was with us. I don't think there was one new original.
So either because everything was, I mean, because we had started playing Drawn and Quartered while Mike was still with us, I believe.
Yeah.
So everything else was kind of the old stuff. I may have written The Crush right at the end, but I don't know that we were playing.
To Mr. Teachers, they pretended to be friends. What about your children? They all took me in the hand. But I'm not looking for a revenge. Just gonna play my guitar. Proud of got the education. Oh, something I would like. That I had 12 years, strong and quiet, being so young, strong and quiet, emotionally hung, strong and quiet, to lead us to the flag, strong and quiet, oh yes I won, strong and quiet, from the sacred to the wind, strong and quiet, I knew he was in, strong and quiet, emotionally.
More bookings than ever before, and we were playing a minimum of 4 shows a week at different clubs in the New England area. During one stretch, we were gone for 3 weeks straight, playing every night of the week. Sometimes 2 gigs in one day. We purchased a lighting system, and with our sound crew of Emil Chodakowski and Mark Leonardo, we were ready for anything, and sometimes we got just that.
I was always afraid that bathroom was going to fall off the house. You remember that bathroom at all, Dave?
Not the bathroom. I remember the mouse under the door jamb.
Oh,
I remember the doors between the mattresses. Didn't we do that?
I don't know.
We destroyed that place, didn't we?
When we left, yes.
And then the van didn't start, and the cleaning people came, and we were like, oh, we're doomed. So we had to go find that part?
Yeah, we had to go.
Ignition?
Yeah, it was a relay or something, or... Yeah, we had
electronic ignition, and we found the brother and sister doing whatever, and
somehow we
paid him a 6-pack for it.
conned him into Yeah, selling us a voltage regulator or whatever the hell it was. But, no, that was, there was a whole bunch of stories. Every time we went to Camden, it just seemed like there was some sort of stupid shit. And the other places we stayed, I mean, we stayed in some places that was
What was the one that had been flooded recently? You could still smell
that was
the water.
No, I think I don't remember where that was, but that was up in New Hampshire. It was in the mountains somewhere. It was just all musty, and it rained the whole time we were there. Yeah, it rained, and so on top of the fact that it rained, and it flooded in where we stayed. Yeah. Well, I just remember because I remember it was raining so much here this week. When I went outside, whenever I smell that, it reminds me of that place. Right? You smell it, right? The weed, everything is kind of the musty stuff. It made me think of that, but I don't remember where.
Kind of like every time I walk to go to the bars and they're just opening, that fresh, dirty bar smell.
Yeah. Nasty beer.
Musty,
yeasty kind of,
skunky beer. Yeah.
Yep.
You remember? I don't remember the name of the place, but do you remember playing that place? It was either in southern Vermont or somewhere in Hampshire that there was actual had the chicken wire fence in front of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this last song here then. Bedtime. This is also by the Memos. I don't remember the price of the dress I bought you for $51.95. I don't remember the Spike is the name of the dog you own. And I don't remember the year and the make of your 1982 Chevy. I don't know that you're up for when it's 6 o'clock and about 5 o'clock you're home. Hey! Well, don't accuse me of watching you when you're at work, but you instruments when I drive by. You went from the dance to the county about 16 times a day. And when you got a lot of nerve saying that you caught me on you home, when I don't even know the address of your place on 81 Fowler Road. And it's funny how a person can waste so much of another person's time. It's even funnier how my memory could just go. Oh, it's when someone mentions your name in my place. I have a hard time matching the name to a face. 'Cause anymore you're just nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody. You can waste so much of another person's time. It's even funnier how my memory could just go. Oh, it's when someone mentions your name in my place. Have a hard time matching the name to a face. Anymore you're just nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. So don't accuse me of watching you when you're at work, but your windows out when I drive by. You went from your desk to the coffee bar 16 times a day. Where you got a lot of nerve saying that you caught me following you home, when I don't even know the address to your place. How does anyone foul the road? And it's funny how a person can waste so much of another person's time. It's even funnier how my memory could just go. Oh, it's when someone mentions your name in my place. Have a hard time matching the name to a face. Cause anymore you're just nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody I, nobody I, nobody I know. 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 Well, we'd like to thank everybody for coming along this evening, including Greta. Anyway, perhaps maybe we'll see you some other time here at the Casbah. We would like to remind you, before you go home, drive home safely and tip the waitress, because you are supporting her with the Memos from Boston. M-E-M-O-S. Thanks again. Nobody I know. 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 Oh, 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 oh. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. Oh, oh, oh. Nobody I know. Nobody I know. Yeah.
Eventually, it became a grind, and Cindy left the band, and we were in search of a bass player one more time in November of 1984. We came upon a local guy by the name of Alex Rodriguez, who had seen us play at a local bar when he was in high school, and he was exactly what we were looking for and needed. New Year's Eve 1984 we made our debut with Alex in Calais, Maine for 5 nights. The perfect spot to get more rehearsing in and work out the kinks in front of a live audience. Alex, it turned out, was also a good songwriter on top of being an excellent musician and vocalist. It seemed like we were back to having what we had lost when Tom Wilde had left us in 1982.
You know, I guess as times kept changing in the 80s, right, and things became more flashy, I guess, we changed with it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think, and this was a question I was thinking of the other day, I don't necessarily think that our music changed with that. You know what I mean? I obviously didn't write most of it, so do you think you ever changed with the style or anything, or did it?
I think the only thing that I became keenly aware of when we first started playing, and we were playing with bands that were, you know, bigger than we were, that were better than we were, was, you know, I mean, first of all, let me say this: when we first came out in when I first came out in '82, I had never heard of the concept of set lists, right? So the idea that you were going to do, say, you know, 4 40-minute sets or 3 50s, right? You know, I didn't know anything about that. I don't know if any of us knew anything about that, right? But so, I mean, that's kind of rudimentary stuff. That's kind of like, you know, bar band 101. That's what you're going to do. But by seeing other bands, something that I picked up on was that you had to have, especially with your originals, you had to have something at the very beginning of a song that was going to grab their attention, and the ending had to be flashy, right? You know, like this idea of just doing a song and ending it, dun, you know, you're just going to lose the audience, right? So the idea of having, so I think that impacted the way I was writing, because I was writing for live music. I think when I was a teenager, I was just writing songs, but I wasn't thinking about, oh, people are going to listen to this, or I'm going to be somewhere where, you know, people might be dancing and you want to play something that they can dance to, right? But I think that seeing other bands and, you know, hearing, you know, oh, wow, that intro really grabbed my ear. And, you know, the ending of it was, you know, bop, 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 or something, you know, just, you know, something that was like, wow, you know, definitely influenced that. You know, and then we, you know, with MTV, you got to see and hear a lot of different stuff. So it would be like, you know, really arrogant of me to say that I didn't pick up on things that other people were already doing. You know, I mean, Alex is really critical of himself, right? And he'll say, you know, oh, well, this song, you know, it sounds just like Mirror in the Bathroom or something, right? And if I wrote something that sounded just like something else, I'm not aware of it, but it wouldn't be surprising to me at all if, you know, I, you know, turn on the radio someday and hear some song that's, you know, 40 years old, and it's like, oh my gosh, that sounds just like Trouble in Doggyland or something, you know, because, you know, we're filters, right? You know, we're definitely filters, you know.
I think Alex gives himself a hard time on that, right? I
thought he was a fine writer, honestly. I thought he was a very fine writer.
He's influenced by people, so he may write a bass line that is similar in style to Mirror in the Bathroom, but it wasn't Mirror in the Bathroom. There was no way that Procrastination Song is anything like Mirror in the Bathroom, and the fact that it's a ska song and it's really fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, the melody's not the same, the chord progression's not the same. So yeah, I think he gives himself a bit of a bad rap on that, and he was very good. I remember sitting down with Alex at my house, and I think it was probably when he was plotting to move to the guitar, and he was teaching me stuff on the bass, right?
Yeah.
Song. And we would sit down and he would kind of explain to me how he approached writing a song, or
That's cool.
Had, you know, kind of the hooky thing. And then, of course, when I worked with him later in Cool Blue Sky, right, I got to be a part of that.
I was thinking about Dana's songs. I used to steal a lot. I mean, really, I sampled. And I didn't do it on purpose. I just heard so much stuff. And then later on, I was damn, that sounds just like that bass line, you know, or like that guitar line. And it was almost exact. But I thought Dana's stuff was it was original. Like I don't know anybody else, any other songs that sound like them, like most of the songs. And one of them was the Child's Play. Is that what it's called? Child's Play?
Yep.
That one was really, the guitar part is really horn parts. Da 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 da. So I wanted to do that with horns because it's a ska song first of all, and it needs horns. And before I die, I'm gonna redo that song with horns. And I have another plan for.
Dana, there you go.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to tell Alex, you know, it's funny, you know, you were talking about just all the stuff that we absorb, like influences and stuff like that. And I was telling Jim that I can even hear stuff that, like, he and I did even before Dave came into the picture, like when we were in, like, junior high school, when I'm hearing it and I'm hearing, like, a guitar line or something like that, and I go, oh, you know what? That's actually a horn part, right? But if you, or there were things that we would do where these days you'd say, oh, that's a keyboard part. But even if you have all those influences coming in, but, you know,
you're limited. It's hard. It's hard to get 4 people in their schedules. I could never do it. I think
it's to me more so. It's like you don't if you never had keyboards or horns or something on your horizon. It's not something that, even though you've heard records with horns and stuff like that, right? Or you've heard stuff that has a lot of synthesizer in it, or just, you know, keyboards, a Fender B3 organ, whatever, right? You will incorporate things into your music that is like a horn part, and it should be a horn part, but you play it on.
We began playing shows at major colleges and clubs again, while booking with Pretty Polly Productions. We also went into the studio in February of 1985 and recorded 5 songs, 2 of which were completed and released as a single. Drag Me Down and Child's Play were released in April of 1985.
How about that place in I don't know if it was Maine, but it was like a private school.
Yeah.
We played there a bunch of times, and I mean, we were doing covers, but we were treated like rock stars, man.
Oh, those kids
You know?
loved us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah!
They were. No, that was an awesome gig. You know, it was one of those gigs that you didn't think was going to be anything,
Yeah.
but they loved us, right? And we played originals, we played covers, but you know,
What was that bowling alley we used to pack?
King of Road.
Yeah. Yeah. We were rock stars there too. Couple places.
Nostalgia. I was thinking the other day, we had to have played.
Nostalgias, and people used to love us there too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's where we took the video, right? The guy. Yeah.
Yeah, how did that come about? The video.
I was doing an internship at Eastern Sound, so everybody was a cameraman, everybody was a producer, everybody was a sound man, and I got friendly with this guy. I said, "Why don't you come, with your stuff and just do it, just and take videos of us." And he was really good. Like if he had better equipment. And it's like when his camera moved, the sound moved.
Yeah.
But if he had, steady sound, and not video, like digital.
presentation is really important, and I think we just kind of stumbled on it in some ways. Like I think about with phase 2, at one point we thought it was a good idea to get leisure suits, right? And we had the blue leisure suits because the groups generally tended to, like pop groups, all tended to look the same. They would dress all the same,
And the Beatles wore suits, man. I mean, so.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back a long ways. I mean, even like you go into the 50s and you see like the Platters, and they're all basically wearing the same suits. There was one woman in the Platters and she'd wear a dress or whatever. But yeah, doing that kind of thing, the Stones really didn't. Well, they did it very, very early on. They might have done it for like a year, and then Jagger goes on the Ed Sullivan show wearing a sweatshirt, which didn't make Ed too happy, because going on TV was a formal thing back then, right? But yeah, like having uniform clothing. I mean, and even in the 70s, I mean, like I said, with phase 2, we felt like it'd make us maybe a little more respectable or whatever. But then by the time Variety came about, I think we were thinking about, being more like a rock band, and rock bands were definitely not, like you see pictures of us like at the, at Elkhorn, playing in Elkhorn, and, I'm wearing like a, sleeveless, tank top and.
Yeah, you and me both.
And so, we certainly weren't dressed uniformly then,
Yeah, no, I guess maybe the first time, with the Memos proper with Mike that we kind of did that would have been the photo shoot, really.
Yeah.
Right, because we did kind of come in dressed differently. Dave, you had that kind of weird shirt with the zipper, and I just had on the stripe thing. And that first picture before our hair was all mussed up and everything, right? We just kind of looked like any old band, right? Like any old band could be. And then that stylist kind of worked with us, right? Did our hair, you and me, Dave, because we were the only ones that really kind of had any hair. Then Mike had a really short cut, and Danny, yours was just combed back. But that's when I put on that camel hair jacket of Mike's dad's. Dave, you put on a leather jacket. And we all put on jackets, which gave that bit of continuity, I guess. Is that the right word? But even though our shirts were all different underneath, I was still wearing a striped shirt. Mm-hmm. It gave us a look, which we then used for a while. We used that look for a while, probably for the rest of '82 and into '83.
Yeah, Dave, I don't remember, were there gigs where you mussed your hair up like that? That was probably like the only time your hair was ever like that, was at the photo shoot.
Because if you look at them, it's either parted in the middle and long, or kind of short, with the middle stick up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that shirt in the picture under the leather coat, that was your leather jacket, right?
Yeah.
You got Canfields.
We kind of kept evolved a little bit more. Then I always kept wearing the jackets, whatever jacket it was, right? I went to the thrift store and got some, these kinds of things, right? And so I have a question, Dave, for you, because every time I watch the Alternatives video, you're wearing that red kind of dress shirt with the sleeves cut off. And I remember Casey Lindstrom from New Models did something similar. Did you kind of get that look from him, or you don't know?
Maybe I did. I don't know where I got it. I remember just tearing sleeves off of shirts, though, and I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
So I remember that kind of became your thing, right? And
big guns.
Dave, I gotta probably say you're probably one of the only drummers that wasn't all buffed out, right? Now Stuart Copeland wasn't ever either, really. And really, you wouldn't think that would be to your advantage to be all muscular anyway. You'd be more flexible. Not that muscular people aren't flexible, but I think we started, as we got to 1984, we got a little slicker. Even Mike, right? We all kind of got a little slicker in our presentation, but I think it probably got more when Cindy came in. We really started to.
Well, you guys might not have known this, but the first time we played The Rat, right? there was, and probably just random people because they're not people I knew before this, but there was these couple of guys who saw us play that night, and I don't know if they had approached Kara or if they'd approached me, but he had talked to me and he says, I want to dress you. And I said, okay. And he was really about my size. He was like my build, my size, my height, right? And anyway, he just, in those days, nobody was texting. He just gave us his phone number, and we ended up going to his house, and he had a lot of really cool clothes, and he literally gave me stuff. But his plan was that he was going to tailor clothes for me, and it never happened, right? But that was like the first time where I was thinking to myself, yeah, we can't, because he something he would keep saying to me, he'd say, everything you wear is just it's off the rack. Everything you wear is off the rack. Like it's a negative thing, right? So what that kind of did for me, even though he gave me some cool stuff, right, was that it made me think, yeah, I do need to wear something that's a little more, out there. And so there was a place at the Methuen Mall that was actually like a women's clothes store, and that's where I got like a couple of the shirts that you see in the nostalgia video. Those were actually blouses that I got at, and it was like one of these places you could get like, buy 2 or 3 for like $20 or something like that. They were inexpensive. And of course, being the 80s, all you had to do was clip out the shoulder pads, right? Because women were wearing shoulder pads, so those had to go. But yeah, I think we did pretty good. And you, Jim, I don't know where you got a lot of the stuff that, like that jacket, that light colored jacket that you used to wear. Do you know where that came from?
I got that at like a thrift store, the kind of the big one that was kind of a yellowish tint to it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I got that at like a thrift store. I think me and Wilson went and got that somewhere. Or maybe it was something that Wilson and them had hanging around. But yeah, that's where I got that there, because I eventually kind of had to not use Mike's dad's mohair jacket. I had to give it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, jackets became my thing. I remember the first time we played at the Raft, if you remember, I wore Tom Wilde's dad's flight suit.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because remember Sting used to wear a flight suit? It did. Well, no, because I had taken it off. Because there's a picture of my room in the Windsor house that's in in that last video thing I put up, and it's got his dad's name, the name thing, Wild, and it's tacked to the wall. And I think I took it off on purpose because I remember one time I was wearing something military related and it had name on it, or somebody told me, hey, you really shouldn't do that, right? So I didn't. I guess I should have known better, but I don't think anyone told me. But I wore the flight suit that night, and for whatever reason, and I wore it at Thomas College too. I remember that because I remember freezing my ass off it. But then eventually that went away. I don't even know whatever happened to that stupid thing. And I just started wearing the suit coat, and I started buying stuff, off the rack too, right? Whatever the name of the store was at the Methuen Mall, right? Hot Topic, whatever it was. I don't know the name of it, but one of those kinds of stores where you just find stuff that was kind of neon colored, or, right? I wasn't quite as flashy as you. I'm more of the, maybe I had some hot pink piping on the shirt or on the tie, right? Because I think, going back to what you were saying with the old time guys, a lot of times if you're wearing the same suit, but the singer would have a different coat, right? Yeah. Just because he stood out as the singer, right? When there was a singer. So yeah, I think I bought a lot, and then of course Patty made the leopard skin jacket.
Yes. Yeah, that was very cool.
That's the only thing I still have left. Everything else is gone.
Wow.
Oh, well, the original Memos t-shirt, I still have that, but I would never ever dare to try and put that thing on.
I hear you.
So Dave, what was your plan? What was your, you don't know, or
my plan?
Yeah, like your stage wear. Did you? I mean, I know as a drummer, a lot of times people don't. I mean, but
Doesn't
you did.
matter.
Yeah, but you did do stuff because I remember you wearing different stuff.
Well, there was Chess King. right?
That was probably
Yeah,
the
yeah.
place. Yeah, Chess King
Yep.
managed it. Yeah.
And then did you shop at 579 or was it a different store?
I can't remember. But
I
you know,
remember
at Chess King, I think that's where I got a lot of my parachute pants.
parachute pants. Yeah.
Your parachute pants were, you know, a big deal at the time, right? So I had a black pair and I had a pair that was like black with some like red inserts,
Yep.
you know, that I would wear sometimes too. You know? But yeah, Chess King, that's where it was.
So I still
Red
have the
ones.
parachute pants that don't fit. I still have that black and purple shirt with zippers. Probably
Yeah.
doesn't fit.
Yeah.
The gray one with no sleeves that button sideways or diagonally.
Mhm.
Still have that. The original's Memos t-shirt. Yeah, I still have that.
Yeah.
I just got rid of my Puerto Rican boots, the little Cuban boots.
Oh,
yeah.
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 I mean, they sat in that closet with these clothes forever, and I took them out and I went, they're
Yeah,
useless. The
yeah.
Smithsonian doesn't want them. They're out. So
Yeah, yeah.
I finally got rid of them. The leather was so dry that they basically almost fell apart.
Oh.
But that was maybe just 2 or 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't remember when I got rid of mine, but they were kind of impractical. They looked good,
Yeah.
but for you, I don't know how practical they would have been playing in those things. But I remember wearing them on stage, and then went to. I remember. I'm kind of jumping ahead. When we went to Presque Isle with Cindy, and I remember we were there for like 4 days or something, and there was
Yeah.
like a Kmart or something that was up there, and we went there one day, and I remember buying some shoes at the Kmart, and they were those kind of those. They weren't real pointy, but they were pointy. And they tied. They were. I think I probably paid $10 for them or something, but they were flat. I think
Yeah.
at some point I got to understand that that was better than wearing.
During the summer, we recorded more new originals of Alex's and Dana's. We had also garnered the attention of somebody who was connected to a couple of guys in California who were going to set up a new label. We did a showcase at the Casbah for them, and then Dave and Alex traveled to LA for a meeting. An agreement couldn't be made, mainly because the person they had tabbed to produce the recording wasn't going to be available. That was Louis Satterfield of the Phoenix Horns, famous for playing with Earth, Wind, and Fire. They were committed to Phil Collins for the next 6 months.
Louis Satterfield.
Louis Satterfield. So was this supposed to be Phil Collins' label or somebody else's?
Good question. The Mike Elias, he was the one that was talking about the Crown and Key records. And that's the guy's house we went to.
That whole bit, I mean, because it's like, all right, you know, we beat our heads against the wall for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, you know, just kind of comes out. I mean, I know we sent plenty of tapes out, and, you know, we did all that kind of stuff, but it's like he set up the meeting in California, Tony did?
Yeah, and we met at Tony's house. And I made Alex ride with him, and then I drove my dad's car because I didn't want to leave it at Tony's house. And then I had to park outside the gates at Mike Elias' house because I didn't want to get trapped inside there. I guess I was a little paranoid. I needed a way to escape.
If necessary.
Yeah.
Advent of us bringing lighting system into our stage show, right?
Yep.
Kind of upped the game for us a little bit, right? And gave us that little bit more I mean, we thought we were something when we just had 8, right?
Yeah, but weren't there places that it seemed to me that we had to get lights because there were places that said you had to bring your own lights.
All those places Don Williams was booking us into.
They said you had to bring your own lights, right?
And we bought those right when Cindy came in. That's when we got them. And we went to all those freaking Chinese restaurants and places around New Hampshire and Vermont, right?
Yeah.
And then of course when Alex came in, he brought a whole nother dynamic and element to it, and that was makeup.
Yeah, but I was wearing eyeliner even when it was Cindy.
Yeah.
When Cindy was there, I was already wearing eyeliner, you know.
I never did the eyeliner. Me and Dave would do the pancake, but we never did the eyeliner, did we, Dave?
Oh, really? I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
Pancake.
The foundation.
I did
The
that.
clear. Yeah, you did it.
Oh. I got accused of eyeliner, but I never wore it.
Yeah.
Because you have those kind of eyes, so you don't need it.
Yeah, I got it.
You get dark hair, right?
Right.
Whereas Dana and I are really white.
You got the
Right.
right. You got the south of the border thing working for you.
Sí, es correcto.
But yeah, Alex was big in, he was always, and that was the only reason I did it, was because he kind of pressured me into doing that.
Yep.
I remember buying it.
Yeah, I'm sure I was the only kid on my block with waterproof eyeliner. More than likely.
Probably, man. It was.
Well, and a can of oh gosh, I can't remember what the brand name was of the hair thing was ridiculous. I mean, luckily I always had hair like a baby, so if I loosed it, it would stay in that position temporarily, and then I'd have like this can of hairspray that was like glue, and just the whole thing. And I mean, it wouldn't move in a stiff wind, So, but
Dave, do you remember using the spray color? We only did it a couple times in like '82, maybe. I remember at the raft, and I remember Mike using it, me using it like red or whatever. And
oh yeah,
the problem is, as you sweated, that stuff would start to run.
Yeah. It was not permanent. It's great. Another thing I thought about the other day too, because I think we're going to be talking about this, is, and you'll probably remember exactly what gig it was, Jim, but there was some gig that we did because we had our own sound system, right? We had that padded, amplifier that had 4 inputs in it, maybe 4 mic inputs. I don't remember if it was 4 or 6 or whatever. But we had that, and then we had the 2, column speakers that had like 3 10s in them or whatever, right? And anyway, and no monitors, of course, right? But I remember, for the most part, that's what we went out with. And if we played a place like the Raft, we got to benefit from their, in-house sound, which is just like, to us, it was just incomparable. It was, we come into the 21st century. But there was some gig that we did where afterwards, Jim, you had said, and you were kind of fired up about it, but you're like, we are never going out again with a sound system, without professional sound reinforcement, right? And that also, do you remember that gig at all, or do you remember saying that, or?
No.
Yeah, you were pretty fired up.
I can imagine.
I don't even know where we played, but it was just like the sound system that we had. It was like obvious that it was like woefully,
inadequate.
Inadequate. Thank you. And we had rented chips sometimes, right? But for a lot of gigs, we went out with just our own little sound system, and you kind of drew a line in the sand. And I can't remember which gig it was where we were playing, but after that point, we just did not go out without either, a chip or.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been that one we did in Haverhill at this place called the Coach Room. So, so before July 4th of 1982, when we did Salem, New Hampshire fireworks again, we had gotten rid of the head, the 4-channel head, and we had traded that in, and that's when we bought that trainer, that 12-channel trainer, and the two EV speakers.
Yep.
That we used with the checkered speakers. We would just stack them on top there, but we didn't have any crossover. We just plugged them all in together. It was a big serial.
Yeah.
And we played out there with that. Every time we played the Mason Street, we did that, and when we did Ox and Yoke, we used it. But after that, we kind of were always playing openers for somebody at the Raft or the Thunderbird or something like. So we didn't really need it. But at the Coach Room in Haverhill, we had to bring our own stuff. I remember, and it was, and this could have been a pay to play. It may have been something, but I've got one of the tickets, and it just says nothing on it. But we were there for 2 nights, and it was miserable. And I think we had to run the freaking wires everywhere, and we were trying to do it, and it was probably that. Although, you know what? I think we used it at the Three Copper Men too.
Yeah,
but that was smaller. But the coach room was kind of a big room, and we had this, you know, and it was probably, and I think maybe we had gotten the taste of the real sound system, and it was like, if you know, we're gonna hurt our own reputation.
Exactly, and again, that has to do with presentation, right? Because you have to, like, say somebody saw you at the Raft and liked you, right? Yeah. And you looked in the paper, which is where you found out where bands were playing back in those days, right? And you saw, oh, the Memos are playing at the Three Copper Men in Lowell, as an example, right? You would want the people who were coming to see who saw you at another gig and really liked you to have the same experience, right? You know, not just that we're dressed the same as we were before, or we're dressed as well as we were before, but also that the sound presentation was the same too. But I felt like that was a really important threshold to cross over too, because we had to get to the point where it wasn't just, you know, because even when we were kids, when we were teenagers, we had a little sound system, and no matter where we went, whether we were outdoors, whether we were at the Reed Center, whether we were, you know, playing a wedding, right? Because we did a wedding, right? For the prices, tenants. Right? The tenants, right? The tenants. We just, it wasn't really a thought. We were just, we were just plugging in and doing it, and it just got to the point, I think, luckily it was still in 82 where it was just like, yeah, we just can't do this anymore, but that, I felt like that was a big, a big improvement, so.
I remember the first time we rented from Chip.
Yeah.
I think it was when we played Smith College.
Yeah.
I don't know if you, and I remember we drove with him in his van out there, and that thing, the steering was all jacked. Dave remembers the steering being jacked up, and we were all in that freaking van, and we drove out to, wherever Smith College is, Northampton or Amherst or wherever it is, and then drove back that same night. And I remember renting Chip's stuff, and then Chip introduced us to Emil and Mark.
Yeah, it was great.
And we made the deal with them in 84 or 83. Actually, we started using them in 83 to start using them. And I think it all depended on if we were getting paid enough money, we could afford to do it, right? I mean, so I don't know. Maybe Mike has made comments in the past about we were making all this money. Where was it going? Well, Emil wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
It was like $125 a night. And if we were getting $300 a night, there goes about half of your money, right? So, but it was worth it. You had to do it, because if you didn't do it, you're going to sound like crap.
Yeah.
Like you said, that people are going to go, oh, I saw those guys and they were really good. And then I saw them again, and it's like, So it's like kind of like you can't afford to take a step down.
No.
Because it hurts your reputation. So that's why I think a lot of times bands or artists won't do certain gigs.
Yeah.
Right, because it's not because they're being egotistical, but it's a thing that the fan base expects something. Not that we had a huge fan base, but we were trying to build a fan base.
Yeah, if you were going to get anywhere, right? Yeah.
So like Bob Boyd, from the Casbah says, yeah, I saw you guys many times at the Casbah, and you were wonderful. Because the Casbah had a sound system, and we brought Emil with us, and we could, and people knew us from there. So if people from the Casbah said, I saw the Memos on Wednesday night. Hey, you know what? The band on Friday night at the Casbah is not a great band, but hey, the Memos are playing somewhere else. I'm going to go see them. And if they'd gone seen us with our checkerboard speakers, which would have been great for a guitar rig.
They
would have said, oof, And so maybe that's why maybe the last time we really used that get up was at Three Copper Men. I think that,
Maybe,
other than that, we used it for rehearsal. I don't.
Yeah,
really,
yeah. I mean, it was a great rehearsal setup. I mean, what do you need?
This time there was no happy ending. For whatever reasons, we couldn't keep it going. We had been playing together in one form or another for 10 years and still had very strong bonds of friendship, and have reunited for some jams over the years and to work on mixing some of the old recordings. Once a memo, always a memo.
But we need alternatives. We need alternatives. We need alternatives. We need alternatives. Well, now you shouldn't be shocked. You know it hasn't been the same. So you can close your eyes and hope it all goes away. What I'm talking about is more than a change of direction. I love the attention. I can't take attention. I wanna close my eyes and make it all go away. But we need alternatives. We need alternatives. We need alternatives. We need alternatives. I don't ever wanna hear those three little words again. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on, ooh my soul. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on, ooh my soul. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on. Hey kids, boogaloo, jump up and down in your sweatshirts. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on. And where do we go from here? Which is the way that's clear. Still looking for that blue jean, Dairy Queen, prettiest girl I've ever seen. See her shake on the movie screen, Jimmy Dean. She's dead. Where do we go from here? Which is the way that's clear. Still looking for that blue jean, Amy Green, prettiest girl I've ever seen. See her shake on the movie screen, Jimmy Dean, Jimmy Dean. Rock on, rock on, rock on, rock on, rock on, rock on. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on, rock on. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on, rock on. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on, rock on. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on. Ooh my soul. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on.
1, 2.
I know you've heard it before. I've heard it more than twice. They say your days in school should be the best of your life. You got the crazy young toughs that kick you in the head, the sweet young girls that tell you drop dead. You got a week of detentions when your car wouldn't start. We all were torn and quartered for being so young. Drawn and quartered. I counted up the good times. Well, I could write quite a list. But now I can't think of much of anything I missed. No. Don't you miss your teachers that pretended to be friends? What about your chums? Now they all took me in the end. Now I'm not waiting on a rebate. Just wanna play this guitar. I'm glad I got the education. That's something I wouldn't hide. You need that reading, writing, arithmetic so badly on the outside. I wasn't out of school long when it became pretty clear. I learned more in 6 months than I had in 12 years. Drawing quarters for being so young. Drawing quarters emotionally hung. Drawing quarters for the sake of discipline. The drawing quarters. Yeah, 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 yeah. Drawing quarters for the sake of discipline. Drawing quarters. I didn't do it, it was jam. Drawing